I have a new video game addiction, a game I cannot stop playing, and it's called Vampire Survivors. This game seemingly came out of nowhere, and now I can't stop. I'm behind on my work. I clearly haven't gotten a haircut. I'm tired because all I do is keep playing this silly, simple little game that actually is really impressive in everything. So I got to dive in. If you're new here, I just talk about stuff I really love, and I love games, and this especially because it scratches a different type of itch, but I am hopelessly hooked. So this game is interesting. It's on PC, it's on Steam, and it's on Xbox, and it's actually now on Xbox Game Pass, so this is a good opportunity. It's super cheap. It's like $3 anyway. It's made by one person, and it's something that was, like I said, was not on my radar and not on a lot of other people's, but the more people expose themselves to it, the more it hits the streets, the more people get hooked on it. It's kind of a shmup, a shoot 'em up. It's kind of a roguelike. It's just this like weird top-down thing where the game just plops you in a big kind of unending environment. You are a little Castlevania-style character, and you move around the environment, hitting enemies with your special cooldown attacks. That's kind of, it's on like a passive loop. You don't really have to do too much other than move around. So it's almost kind of like one of those unactive like clicker games, but it still gets incredibly challenging and really intense as the screen fills with more and more enemies, and you keep killing more enemies and getting experience points that allow you to level up and take on new abilities. Your character will have an AoE effect of garlic to push back the monsters, or they will throw daggers in front of them, whichever direction that they're pointing. Magic spells will be cast, fireballs will be tossed around, lightning will rain down from the sky. As you get more and more powerful, as you survive longer and longer, the screen gets more chaotic. Enemies are flying at you. Enemies are stronger, more powerful. Some enemies start throwing projectiles, so that's where it becomes a shoot 'em up because you're like insanely just dodging everything, all while you're just trying to scoot around and get as much as you can and get as powerful as you can to just absolutely destroy the level and beat some ass. And it's really hard to convey in a video why this is so satisfying, why it's so fun, but I think it's almost like a flow state game. Like it taps such like a kind of primal like gaming, like, oh, just one more, just a little bit more, just one more run, that type of thing, with how specifically you get the endorphin rush of cruising through enemies. Like the game is designed around your weapon types, your abilities, cutting ever so slightly through these hordes of enemies that are constantly surrounding you. So you always can kind of, if you're good and if you're paying attention and you're good at constantly moving, you can cut your way and navigate your way around these crowds of enemies. And the game kind of makes a whole gameplay concept, a whole feeling around just skating by the skin of your teeth through or past a group of enemies. That's the whole thing here. You're constantly doing that. And you're almost kind of Tony Hawking your way from line to line, from group of enemy to group of enemies, sometimes using positioning or taking advantage of the environment around you, or just waiting for your cooldown right at the right proper time for your next weapon to hit to save you. That is what makes it so addictive, dude. I hope like I could get that across here, because you have that in a game that looks it looks like a little simple retro thing, a Castlevania inspired thing, which is cool. All the characters do kind of remind me of Castlevania style characters. The main guy is basically a Belmont with a whip. Very cool inspiration here. I really dig that. Also with the just like butt ripping music. The music is so sick. It's just like classic, awesome, like retro, almost just like hype rock jams. It's so satisfying. It's all got that little bit of like spooky vibe to it. Speaking of spooky too, the enemy types, the environments, it's always just like ghouls or tree monsters or skeleton warriors or anything running at you, and you're cutting them down, and it just all works so well. The music is stuck in my head. The moveset is stuck in my head. I've been playing it near endlessly, thanks to good progression as well, right? So essentially you earn coins the better you play, and then you're able to actually spend those coins and buy new characters. New characters all have their own little individual fun bonuses. Like some start with a health bonus, some start with some disadvantages to have some advantages. Some essentially throw 2 projectiles at once. So that makes that a little more advantageous if every time you level up in game, you pick projectile style weapons, you already have a leg up. So every character has a little bit of strategy to it, and it's fun to experiment and unlock them all. It's subtle stuff, but it's really good. But the rest of your coins, you're also spending on actual progression. There's a little shop where you spend coins to, upgrade your health percentage bonuses every time you level up. Just give you little legs up for your next round. Nothing insanely substantial until later on, but still really satisfying to work towards and grind towards and keep you playing for a while. This is an interesting game. So I really like playing it mobile. I've been playing it on my Steam Deck. I've told you guys how much I freaking love this device. Go check out my Steam Deck video I did if you want. I will link that somewhere. But it's a really good handheld game. Some people will look at it and say, this looks like a phone game. And you know what? I would play it on my phone. It works really well handheld with a controller. I would love to see it on Switch. Handheld, I've really liked it specifically because it's just like, oh, just one more round. Or like you pick it up in between like a work break or something at home. Oh, just one more round. Stuff like that. The rounds can actually go really long. There's a bunch of levels to progress through, and there is a ton of time to spend in this game, considering, like I said, it's super cheap. You're paying the price of like a cheap cheeseburger here, but you're getting in return like an addictive video game drug that should cost way more. And the best part about it is that it's just a video game-ass video game. There's no microtransactions. There's no like mobile game elements or anything like that. They're not nickel and diming you. It's just a simple old school game that is incredibly addictive and really impressive and really chaotic when there's a lot going on screen. But I cannot stop playing this. They have outlined a roadmap with this game. This is a game that I'm going to keep revisiting just because I do really like it a lot. I'm curious to see if it keeps blowing up, because the more people I talk to, the more people do start playing it, and it's starting to bubble up into a thing. So I wanted to put this out there too, to kind of share the love, because again, low entry point, give it a shot. I really hope I was able to get the point across why it's cool, that addictive nature, that flow, that loop, that satisfying endorphin rush, that constant endorphin rush that is the game. It's very dangerous, I will say, but it's not predatory because there's nothing else to it. It's just a video game-ass game. I didn't even really have time to get into like how the levels actually progress and how you beat them, but like I said, there are a lot of levels, but ultimately, I think where I just want to wrap up is that I think this might be on my game of the year list, or even like a runner up or something like that. I like these weird little games that hook you. This reminds me of You Must Build a Boat, the mobile game from a couple of years ago. I actually included that on my game of the year list because I didn't care. I spent so much time on it, so it counts as a game. Vampire Survivors, I know, is gonna be somewhere on my list. I am also biased because I really like vampires, and vampire games are having a comeback this year, baby. And what's great about Vampire Survivors is that it has more than just vampires. It has all kinds of manner of spooky, haunted things. But this is the sleeper hit. I think this thing is gonna grow and just become an absolute monster. I'm betting on it. And, even if I lose, I'm having a ton of fun playing it. That's the bottom line. If it's not clear yet, I implore you to check it out big time. But I want to hear from you if you have been playing it. Are you crazy like me? Are you losing your mind playing this game? Are you having a blast like I am? Let's talk about this stuff. Let's talk about Vampire Survivors. Let's talk about similar games. If you have anything else you'd like to recommend to people, I'd love to hear your build, your weapons you like to go for. To be honest, garlic is the best thing in the world in the game. When you get the garlic, it's like, ah! When I don't have the garlic, I'm like, I need the garlic. But when you have the garlic, you have to be there. If you haven't played the game, you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Anyway, I've yapped for a while, so let me know what you think in the comments. Please definitely go give the game a shot. Not shilling or anything, but it's a cool indie game worth supporting. It's a slow season, games are delayed, so play something cool and weird and different. Give this a shot, man. But that's it. If you like this video, if you like what I'm trying to do here, just talk about stuff I love, clicking the like button helps. Thank you. But that's it, man. I'm Jake Baldino. Thanks for watching. Subscribe because video games, pizza's on me.